Dear Abraham, my question is this: how to give myself permission to not like something. To allow yourself to be straight to people and say what I don't like without feeling bad. That's such a good question, and it's falling in such a good place in this conversation. So, we want to go back to the subject of split energy, because sometimes you have the impression that not having split energy or having aligned energy means that you and your husband have to be in agreement about the cat, or that you and your inner being have to be in agreement. And certainly, being in agreement with your inner being is the optimum agreement. But we want to take this conversation just for a minute, a little in depth on the subject of alignment. And we want to help you to understand that when you work against yourself, which is what not being in alignment with your inner being is, that's when you are not allowing in what you want. Now, we want to give you some examples of that. For example, let's say that you say, I want this specific work, and I want this specific money for this specific work. Now, that all sounds like alignment, doesn't it? But what if, instead of self-soothing yourself as you've been growing up, what if you've been trained to believe that you have to work hard in order to justify the money that comes to you, or that you're not good at things? So what if, even though you want this work and you want to do that work, the tasks or responsibilities feel good to you and the money feels good to you, but you don't feel capable of doing it? That's split energy. In other words, what we really want you to hear in the easiest way that maybe you've ever heard it is that you don't have to be the one who finds all of the components and makes them compatible. The law of attraction has already gathered the compatible components. Your work is so much simpler. Your work is self-soothing. In other words, your work in the example that we just gave you is to not feel inadequate. Well, that might be an easier thing to say than to accomplish, yes? Because you may have been practicing feeling inadequate for quite some time. It might have started with one of your early teachers. And so, even though you've been setting your goals and you know how much you want to make and you know how much time you want to spend, and it feels like everything's in alignment as far as you can figure out, when you think about that, you feel uneasy, you feel afraid, or you feel insecure. And what's that emotion telling you? It's telling you that something's out of whack. And what's out of whack? You want to say, maybe it's not the right job. That's rarely what it is. You might say, well, maybe it's not the right pay. That's rarely what it is. It's that you are usually at odds with you because something that you want, that the universe is yielding to you, you're working against with your negative thoughts about yourself. Will I be able to do it? Will I be good at it? Will it be satisfying long term? It's the contradiction within yourself that we're asking you to find a way to first recognize by the negative emotion that you feel, and that we're asking you to soothe by saying, I don't have to figure this out. I just need to rock myself to sleep, so to speak. In other words, it's the soothing factor that we're asking you to go for, not the figuring it out factor. Is this starting to make some sense for you? In this world that is diverse, always has been and always will be, becoming more diverse every single moment of the existence of it. More moving parts, more conflicting desires among you, each other to each other, more conflicting beliefs, each other to each other. But this is the thing. You don't have to come into agreement with the others. You only have to come into agreement with yourself. and you're believing that they need to agree with you is what's keeping you from the alignment that would let you let it in. It comes down to, you might ask yourself the simple question, would I rather be right about this issue, or would I rather feel good? Well, we know feeling like you're right feels pretty good to you. You think it does. But look at what's going on in your world on so many topics that are on your table right now. You're just not going to come into agreement with each other on all of those subjects. And you knew it when you decided to come into this physical body. You knew that you were diverse in your beliefs and in your desires and in the new desires and new beliefs that you would find along your physical trail. And not one of you, when you made the decision to come into this physical body, believed that your work was in controlling others or convincing others of anything. You knew that your work was in life showing you what you want, and then you soothing yourself by paying attention to your guidance system into having no resistance within yourself, knowing that the universe would yield it to you, and that when the universe yields it to you, no one has the power to take it away from you. Most humans are living under so many false premises that others are granting you your well-being and that they have the power to take it away from you. And we know, as you look around from that flawed premise, you can find evidence that makes you want to get on your box and explain that, look at this is proof of the fear that I have. But looking for proof of the fear that you have is the opposite of self-soothing, and it will never get you to where you want to be. You don't have to pick out the specific thing that you need and wrestle everybody else to the ground and make them agree to it. You've just got to give up the battle within yourself. That's the only thing that is keeping you from what you want. You know what a battle within yourself produces? Hatred, meanness, bullying. You know what soothing within yourself brings? Brings to you loving, goosebumps, happiness, laughter. Those thrill bumps that are evidence that you're really in sync with who you are. How to give myself permission to not like something. Hey, I really don't like that. I prefer this. I really don't like that. I prefer this. I prefer this. I prefer this. And the reason that I like this is for this reason, these reasons. Your world is based upon attraction. There's no assertion. There is no assertion. There is no assertion. There is no regression. And there's no pushing something that you don't want away. There's only the identification of what is wanted. A host of heavenly, non-physical, guiding angels, or whatever you want to call it, meeting you at corner after corner after corner, sharing with you in your delight that you discover along your path.